When this vaccine thing happens, there's some Coloradans who deserve a high five. We'll meet one of them. We acknowledge the empty seats at Thanksgiving tables.
As she passed, she was alone, and I was outside the window.
A family asks, we listen to just one thing. A great next question from viewers about whether people getting tested over and over are running up the state's numbers. And we celebrate all the ways that you found to have a safe Thanksgiving without defying public health guidelines. Maybe one of you wants to be the mayor of Denver. Next. When we get to a COVID vaccine, not if, when we get there are Coloradans who deserve special credit for that. They stepped up to be part of vaccine trials, knowing that they were joining something uncertain but promising. Tonight, Anusha Roy has the perspective of one of our neighbors who's seeing the scientific study that he participated in get ready to scale up at a global level.
It was a simple decision.
I am not an epidemiologist, not a doctor, not a scientist. This was the only way that I could help.
A simple decision for Rob Jansen to sign up for the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine trial in August. He got the injections through UC Health and said he felt fine except for some discomfort in the arm where he was injected.
I would have sworn that I got the placebo other than the discomfort in my underarm.
He continued to live life as best as he could in a world dominated by COVID. Then Moderna announced the results based on its clinical trial. It was a 94.5% efficacy rate.
And to be a part of that it's mind-boggling.
Now Moderna is expected to apply for an emergency use authorization from the FDA, joining other companies, including Pfizer. If approved, it would allow some people to get the vaccine while it's still being studied. Dr. Michelle Barron with UC Health said the two vaccines are using similar technology to fight COVID-19. They are both mRNA vaccines. She said they essentially serve as instructions for the body to make part of the spike protein which causes the COVID-19 infection. That way, the immune system can develop the antibodies against those proteins and fight off COVID-19 when exposed.
To collectively come together to create a vaccine that will help us out, not only here in the United States, but globally.
As the companies talk about major scale-up operations to distribute the vaccine nationally and globally, Colorado has a plan in place too. Dr. Barron said the vaccines will be distributed from the CDC to states based on population.
I'm proud to be a part of this.
So there's been a lot of talk about the varying temperatures for storage of vaccines, right? Some have to be at -70 degrees. Others could be stable just at regular fridge temperature. Kyle, we asked the state today. They said they're taking all of those factors. They know things are changing and they're adapting their distribution plan to take all of that into account.
So, Anusha, especially when we're talking about these vaccines where people are going to need multiple doses, the big question is how many is Colorado going to get?
So at this point, what the state today said was that they are expecting, when the day comes, to basically get a weekly shipment of vaccines from the federal government. They said they didn't have an exact number for us yet, and we have talked about this, about who is actually going to get that vaccine. Well, it's going to be that tiered system with people most at risk first in line to receive it.
Lighter note, as much as people make fun of the fact that Steve and I kind of look like twins, it's actually me and Anusha who tend to twin more than anybody else here. We inadvertently dress alike more days than anybody else in the show. So I know you wore that specifically because I have several jackets that look like that, and I failed you.
I can't believe it. We missed the chance. We could have been like matching Christmas ornaments. That's what we would have looked like.
Speaking of, I love yours. That's such a nice touch back there in the brick house. All right, Anusha Roy, thank you so much. We know that for all of the excitement of gathering for Thanksgiving yesterday, that there were thousands of families across Colorado with an empty seat at the table, missing somebody who's passed away due to COVID-19 during the past year. And you know, for all the noise made by the pandemic deniers and the skeptics, those families also deserve the chance to be heard if they would like. Tonight, the story of a woman in Boulder County who lost her mother to the virus.
The memory I have of my mother is that she always had a smile. I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson. My mother was Elaine Morrison. She passed a week ago, and she died of COVID. My mother lived in an assisted living facility, and they worked so hard to keep COVID out. And finally, it worked its way through. We weren't able to see her, but thank goodness she had a window to her room. So we could stand outside and watch in, and that's what we did. But as she passed, she was alone, and I was outside the window. I really thought she was going to last several more years. And I do believe that that was taken away from us from the actions of a lot of people, helping to spread the virus, either knowingly or not knowingly. And as people are living their lives right now and making the decisions of how they're going to spend their time and who they're going to spend their time with, I encourage people to be aware that their actions do impact the lives of other people. I can't stay angry, and I can't stay in fear. For me to move on, I have to come from that place of love. She was so upbeat and so positive. That's who I want to be. I want to carry that image of her forward.
Ruth shared her story through the lens of our photojournalist, Mike Grady. So we check Colorado's COVID-19 numbers every day here. We know that the holidays might be skewing the reporting from various hospitals and the testing sites a bit, but we'll keep doing it every day. It's also why we focus on weekly averages more than anything. The headline today is that the pace of new hospitalizations is clearly slowing down, while the deaths that were inevitable with the crush of serious cases that came in, the deaths are beginning to increase to about 30 a day. 1,682 COVID patients are currently in Colorado's hospitals. That is up 30 patients from yesterday. This time last week, we had 1,564 COVID patients in the hospitals. 175 people have been discharged or transferred in the last 24 hours. Then we look at the case positivity rate. Yesterday, it was 11.6%, and our 7-day average for positivity of tests is now at 11.1%. Last week, we were 12.5%. So you like that trend. Have to remember, public health experts say that levels over 5% show that the virus is spreading widely in our community, and we're more than double that. We're also seeing dropping case counts. Colorado added just under 3,900 new cases yesterday. Our 7-day average for new cases per day is more than 4,280. It is down from over 4,600 per day last week. Tonight's next question comes from a viewer named Steve. A bunch of you have asked whether one person's multiple positive tests for COVID count as multiple positives in the state's totals. That is an excellent question, Steve. We hear this from a lot of people. And Denver Mayor Michael Hancock left town for Thanksgiving, saying his only choices were to fly out to see family or have them fly here. All of you knew there was a third option, the one the mayor told us to take, to avoid travel. You've provided proof of how with just a bit of ingenuity, you can make a safe and special Thanksgiving happen. Well, except the Sitter family. They just skipped Thanksgiving and added an extra Christmas. Hey, speaking of, this is the official start of light season. We will catch up with people perched precariously on ladders and get their good news in this rough year. Next. Sorry about that. I froze like Marshall Zellinger there for a second. One of those. Back to Steve's question, whether people are getting multiple COVID tests to see if they still have it, whether each of those shows up as a new case in the system or whether they're counted once. Short answer, state counts each new case of COVID, each new person, only once. With each one, they're not looking at the positive test, but rather a person with a positive result. They create like a case for that person. So if a person tests positive multiple times, they're still considered just one COVID case, and their multiple results are added to that existing case. Now, as far as the positivity rate goes, each single test counts towards the average for the day. So if somebody gets a test one day, that counts towards the positivity rate for that day. You go back and you get tested a week later, you again count toward the positivity rate of that particular day. Hope that all makes sense. No family in our community should be worried about whether they can afford food this holiday season, no matter where they live. And that is why our Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign this week is focused on hunger yet again. We're refilling the food bank at Secor Cares. That's a longtime nonprofit that fights suburban poverty. They focus on Arapahoe, Douglas, and Elbert counties. They've been around for decades, and they tell me they've never seen need like we see right now. And you've raised $65,000 to help them out since Wednesday. You can still get in on this. Text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. We'll send you that link to donate. Even $5 adds up quick because there's a ton of you watching and everybody pitches in on this. So let's show people who are struggling with food insecurity in Denver suburbs that we're here to help them this holiday season. Hey, may I make a recommendation? I want to point you towards something that did not come from us, but I do think is worth your time. So I grew up in a town of about 3,000 people, and I think people in small towns know how just a few specific individuals can be like the glue that keeps their community together. And my recommendation tonight is a tribute to just such a small town Coloradan, Gene Thomas. Gene was that glue for a few different towns because he ran newspapers all over Colorado. The Johnstown Breeze, the Where for No World, the Elbert County News. Gene passed away at the age of 88. He was a mentor to Aaron McIntyre, who runs the Ouray County Plain Dealer. And Aaron put together an ode to a man who helped to chronicle life in small-town Colorado for decades. And she included his family's request that everybody subscribe to the local newspaper in his honor. That tribute from the Ouray County Plain Dealer is on the next Facebook page. So sometimes I think that when it comes to the pandemic, we give the whiners and the deniers too much attention. You deserve the spotlight for figuring out how to make Thanksgiving memorable under difficult circumstances, for not giving up, for, just gathering in a large group and passing mashed potatoes that are dotted with respiratory droplets. Nope, you came up with different ideas. An ingenious Thanksgiving. How to explain Thanksgiving without all the gathering? Fewer seats around the table. Familiar faces now on screens. Group photos that don't fill the frame. Backdrops. It'll always seem strange. Like the Littman's tailgate Thanksgiving. This year, meals could be both homemade and delivered. That's how the Brown family celebrated separately. Darlene did duplicate dinners too. It's why Darren smoked a turkey for each of his kids and delivered it to their doors in exchange for side dishes. It's how the Halses set up grab-and-go portions, then got back together virtually. And how Julia left dinner with best wishes at the doorstep of her daughter, who's quarantining after an exposure. Some things not even a pandemic could change, like a dad's desire to dress the family in corny matching outfits. The Peppers, dressed as side dishes. There were the dogs peering over tables to see what they can grab. That never changes. And the post-dinner walk to fight off sleep, the Tryptophan 200. We still walked and walked and walked, and then called it a day. Called Papa over Zoom for a bedtime story. A moment, like this whole Thanksgiving, both special and remote.
A beautiful day, but still enough snow cover around the area. The temperatures were on the chilly side. We managed 40 at DIA, 45 downtown, and while there were some 50s on the far eastern plains, but up in the high country, mid-30s. And a lot of folks getting out and doing some skiing and snowboarding, and why not? Tomorrow will be a warmer day, a drier day. The center of circulation bringing snow to the southern mountains tonight is dropping into Texas. Mild air comes in with the southwest winds. Our temperatures will be in the mid-50s tomorrow. Best chance for snow in the next 24 hours over the Colorado-New Mexico line. And then Sunday, we get a weak, dry front that comes in. It takes temperatures out of the 50s back down into the 40s. Dry and cold tonight in Denver, our low at 24. Tomorrow with sunshine, a high of 56. Low 40s Sunday. Broncos play in town at 2:05 with no fans. Warmer Monday and a chance for some snow showers Wednesday. Coldest day of the week will be Wednesday with temperatures in the 30s, but not expecting accumulating snow with that midweek system.
I'm still full of turkey. It's a beautiful day, and we're putting up our Christmas decorations.
That sounds like good news to me. We'll hear it from people getting lit during the middle of the day. And if all the world's a stage, Colorado has the best venues. The most Colorado thing we saw today. Next. Isn't that something? That's going to be the soundtrack of our state for the next few months. The geese put on quite a show there for our viewer Tina and her family out in Marino. Fridays we reserve for your good news around here. If you got up and down from a ladder hanging lights today and you did it safely, that alone is good news. But some of the folks doing that had even more of it to share.
Today has actually been pretty busy for being our first day open. I'm Caroline Purdom, and we're out here selling Christmas trees at Santa's Best Christmas Tree Lot. I'm thankful for my family and friends and to be out here. And Thanksgiving was yesterday, and it's Friday.
There, I think we did it. And did you get the present on yourself? I'm Paul Henney. We're decorating for Christmas.
Lights, yeah, I'm gonna put up the lights.
My good news is I'm still full of turkey. It's a beautiful day.
There we go. Ow.
My good news is that I get to put up Christmas decorations and I get to eat cinnamon buns.
I'm thankful that I got all my family here with me, and we're having a good time outside.
Do you think those two are related? Hey, remember this holiday season, even when stuff comes apart at the seams, it's the thought that counts. Let's do some of your holiday fails, shall we? Cooking the Thanksgiving meal is a battle, and Lindsay has the wounds to prove it. Still has that scar from 2014 when she bumped the hot oven rack she put on the counter to make room for the turkey. Medical treatment delayed dinner that year, but now she's among the ranks of the toughest Thanksgiving warriors and was proud to show it off. So we cooked a turkey in a bag this year. I'd never tried that before. Here's how that went for Jill a few years ago. Bag broke, spewed turkey parts and juices all over the floor. A mess, but a great holiday story, worthy of our Holiday Fails series. Send us your perfectly unperfect holiday stories, especially if you have photos or video. Next@9news.com is the email, or give us a shout with the hashtag HeyNext. When concerts come back, it'll likely be the outdoor venues first. We found a musician trying out one that's, well, it's only going to hold a crowd until the ice melts. And also, I figured out why my shot froze a moment ago. Share that next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is a cheap show at Colorado's newest outdoor music venue. Tickets free, you just got to get there at the right time. Christine spotted a drummer out on the frozen water of Echo Lake over the weekend. Seems like the perfect place to get some practice in. Nobody's going to bother you. It's a cool audience. Icy acoustics, though. Christine did not ask the drummer for the backstory. She didn't want to break his concentration or the ice if she went out there to talk to him. In your feedback tonight, Brenda sent in a note about Anusha Roy's story, saying, appreciate the story on the Moderna vaccine. She says, as a retired RN, over 60 and immunocompromised, she says she was a participant in the Pfizer vaccine study. She said that she's extremely frustrated when she hears people saying they're not interested in getting vaccinated. So we learned what happened when my shot went kaput earlier in the show. Apparently the 2-year-old figured out how to turn on Netflix on a tablet upstairs. She wanted to watch the llama cartoon. Not while Daddy's working. See you next time.